guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are continuing the series of the bodyweight only workouts, and today we're looking at legs. This routine is going to be bodyweight only, but unlike the other routines in this series, it's not particularly mass gain focused. It is more focused around building strong legs, building mobile legs, and also hitting some weak links that are often missed in calisthenics. I'll be honest with you, if you want to build some big legs, I would highly recommend just lifting weights. It's a better stimulus for building muscle mass on the legs. But if you are persistent and want to work with just bodyweight only, or you only have access to bodyweight stuff, hopefully this routine can help you out. You will need some equipment, but hopefully that becomes more evident as we get into the routine. So let's jump straight into it. This routine is made up of 3 sections. The first section we have is our core strength moves. We're going to be strengthening both the quad and the hamstring and glute and lower back. Next, we have the mobility / weak points element, where we're going to be working on mobilizing the lower body, as well as strengthening up the lower back, which is a common weak point. And then finally, we're going to be hitting some calves. And before you comment on the size of my calves, right, so the first pairing we're going to be looking at the strength portion, we're going to be looking at 2 exercises. The first one, A1, is the shrimp squat. This is a single leg squatting variation that I personally think is probably the hardest quad dominant exercise that you can perform as a bodyweight athlete. I think it's superior to the pistol squat in the fact that it targets the quads. It's also going to help develop your range of motion, or demand range of motion, for your ankles, and it's a pretty hard exercise, to be honest. There's a couple of ways you can perform this to make this harder or easier. The easier way is by using the back leg's foot as assistance to help you both on the way down and on the way up. And then the harder variation would be to lift the back foot off the ground and don't let it touch the ground during the entire movement, only touching the knee to ground for the rep. If this is still too easy, you can then also perform this on an elevation where you'd have your foot higher and try to touch your knee down. This one though is incredibly hard. We want to perform this one for 4 to 8 repetitions per leg, and I would suggest doing this at roughly a 4-0-1-0 tempo, which means 4 seconds down, 1 second back up. This exercise is paired with something called the natural hamstring curl. And this is probably one of the best exercises for developing the hamstrings both in and out of bodyweight training. To perform this one, you're just going to need simply an anchor point to secure your feet down. And this does take more weight than expected. You can either use a person to hold on to your ankles, or as I've got here, a bar, stool bars to anchor your feet down. Make sure you make yourself comfortable. I like to add some padding, especially underneath the knee to protect the knee, and then also underneath the back of the ankle if you are using a bar or something, because a lot of pressure is going through there. There are 2 ways in which you can do this. Number 1 is you can do it for reps, where you lift yourself up and down for your own strength, or we could do an accentuated eccentric portion, which is where we'd use a harder progression on the way down and then use our arms to kind of help us back up. Kind of choose whatever one you prefer doing. Essentially with this exercise, the straighter we have our body, the more extended it is, the harder this exercise becomes. And as we bend at the hips and use less extension, then this exercise becomes a little bit easier. You're going to perform this one again at the same 4-0-1-0 tempo, meaning lower yourself down over 4 seconds and then use a 1 second or explosive concentric back up to the top. You're going to want to perform this one for 4 to 6 repetitions. Next, we move on to pairing 2, and this is more around mobility and weak links. The first exercise is the Cossack squat. Now this one's going to be looking at developing flexibility, both in terms of your squat, your hamstring, your ankle, your glute, kind of everywhere. Is a really fantastic mobilizer, and also it's going to be a good single leg unilateral dominant exercise to build strength in those legs. Go as wide as you feel comfortable doing with this exercise. Sink down to one side, keeping the other leg straight. You want to perform all reps on one side first, and then move to the other side and complete all the reps on there afterwards to complete your set. If this is too challenging and you're struggling flexibility wise, you can use a point of assistance in front of you to hold on to as you perform the reps, and this will help you get deeper. We're going to perform this one for 6 to 10 repetitions per side with a 2-1-1-0 tempo, which means we take 2 seconds down, pause for a second, and then a second back up to the start position. Next, we move on to the second exercise of this pairing, and that is for the weak point with bodyweight training, and that is traditionally the lower back. The lower back is such a foundational thing to develop. By strengthening the lower back, we can often get an irradiation effect by which we get stronger in the lower back, and therefore we get stronger in other seemingly non-related movements, because it is such a fundamental part of our body for most movement patterns. We have a little bit of recruitment when we're doing something like the natural hamstring curl, but doing a back extension is going to be the next best way that we can do this. I would recommend using initially a 45-degree back extension if you have a machine or if you have a bench that you can line yourself up on. If this exercise is a little bit easy, then what you can do is you can do an accentuated eccentric one where you'd lift your arms overhead and lower yourself down at the bottom position, bringing them back in on the way up. Next, if this is too easy, you can then do a single leg variation, which works nicely with the Cossack squat, where you'd only use one leg when performing the back extension. This one becomes significantly harder. Or you could just add weight to this exercise if you do have some knocking about, but I guess that kind of defeats the body weight only aspect of things. Another option you have is to perform the back extension at 90 degrees by using a box or something else to lie yourself down. This is probably going to be more feasible for those of you who don't use a gym, and it's going to get a similar sort of response. We're going to want to perform this one for 8 to 12 repetitions in total, and I'm going to perform it at a 3-0-1-0 tempo, which means we take 3 seconds to lower down, and then we take 1 second to come back up. Finally, we're going to finish up with some calves, simply because having strong ankles and calves are very important for general lower body movements. So the first exercise we're going to use very simply is a single leg calf raise. It's probably the best way we can load the calf without using weight. We're going to perform this one for 6 to 10 repetitions per side using a 2-0-1-2 tempo, which means we go up, pause for 2 seconds at the top, and lower down over 2 seconds. Perform on one side first, then the other, and then we're supersetting this straight away with some single leg bounces. This one's going to help condition the ankle for various different lower body movements, and it's also going to get a little bit of a pump, work some other muscles in the ankle. But this literally just hop on one foot on the floor, and then as soon as you hit the reps, swap the other foot to complete the set. These two are superset back together, so you have a slight bit of rest as you swap sides, but overall, it will give you a good little pump in the calf as well. We're going to perform those single leg bounces for 70 repetitions per side. And that is basically it. That is the routine. Nice, short, simple, quick, and very effective. It's going to hit your legs. It's going to build some good flexibility, some good range of motion, and it's also going to help target those common weak links that we get in calisthenics. But that's been it for this week, guys. I hope you're enjoying this bodyweight only series. If you want to leave a comment, join the conversation, then go into the comments section down below and leave your thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear them. Also, while you're down there, you can hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on any more future videos or the rest of this bodyweight only series. But that has been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.